Hello, Silaholics, and welcome to Silaholics Anonymous. I am Shakia, the professor, and in this video, I am going to go from a sketch to a vector file. I came across the video that you see underneath the one that I did. I was just on YouTube. I came across that one, and it was done in Illustrator. And people always ask, is Silhouette really comparable to some of the more robust graphic designing softwares? So I decided to take the image that's there and basically try to turn his sketch into a vector in Silhouette Studio. As you can see, it was a success because the top one on mine is already done. The only thing that you can't do in Silhouette Studio is kind of like the gradient to where he has it on his background. So I did the best I could with the gradient. But I am going to show you how to do this in Silhouette Studio. When it comes to creating a vector image from a sketch, it really doesn't matter what program, like what vector-based program you are using. It's really going to be pretty much the same types of techniques. And Silhouette Studio is a pretty decent vector designing program. If this is something that you are interested in or just want to see how it's done, stick around. Be sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I release new content if you are new here. If you are already subscribed, thank you for the support and welcome back. All right, let's jump into this. All right, we're going to go ahead and get rid of that one. And we're going to start with this. So I'm going to just pull this down. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So it's always easier to kind of work with things when it's larger. All right. First thing I'm going to do, actually I deleted it, but let's go ahead and paste this back so that I can blow it up. I need to make my color chart from this. So we're just going to put a rectangle here, fill that with light, and make a few duplicates. And then we're going to click here and fill this in with the corresponding colors that are on this particular. Actually, you know what? Let's come over here because we have to do quite a few of them. And of course, black. And then let's do this darker color, this much brighter orange here, and one more, which I really think it's darker, but we're just going to go with this for now. So those are all of the colors that I need. Okay, now I can get rid of that. And I'm going to turn my line colors off. Let me realign those, and I'm going to group them together for now. I just need to have my color palette. Well, let's ungroup that one. All right, first things first, we're going to start with the simple shapes, which is the circle or ellipse in this case. So you're going to go to the 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth or fifth icon down, depending on which version you have. Because I think the lasso is a part of one of the Designer or Designer Plus. I'm using Business Edition. So we're going to come down here to the Shape tool, go to the Draw an Ellipse, kind of try and find the middle, hold down Shift and Alt, and make that a tad bit bigger. And I'm going to shrink it down some to try and get it to be right to the size of this. So that I can fill this in easier, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this. I'm going to make another duplicate of this and take my transparency down on that one. And I'm going to use my properties dropper and sample that. That way, oops, let's click on here. And there we go. All right, so that's going to make it easier for me to move this circle around because it's filled with color. All right. And then the next thing I'm going to do is duplicate this. So I'm going to hold down Alt and click it right in front. That's going to make a duplicate. Right on top, we're going to take this down and basically try and get it to match that inner circle. Okay, that's pretty good right there. I'm going to take my transparency down a little bit more on that one. And I'm also going to go ahead and fill it in with this color. And then this one, just so I know which one is which, I'm going to fill that in with this color and then take that down some. Okay. Now I'm going to build out the mountain. To do that, we're going to use the draw curve shape because there is some bend to it. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to start here at the base of the mountain, and we're just going to draw some lines for now. They don't have to be perfect because I will fix them after the fact. So once I click down here, I'm just going to click around to close off this shape. Double click on the line that we created, hold down Shift, select all of the edit points, and I'm going to make them corner points. So I double click on that, click on any of the points that aren't selected, and now let's adjust our points. If you make a mistake and click on what's behind it, just undo and then proceed to continue to edit your points. This will be in real time. I'm not going to edit, so you can see exactly how long it takes me to complete this. Okay, so there's that first one. I need to crop that down to the circle. So I'm going to click on my big circle. I'm going to duplicate it in front again. So I'm going to hold down Alt, click. That's going to duplicate it in front. I'm going to hold down Shift, click on my one that I just drew, go over to Modify, and I'm going to crop. That's going to give me that shape right there. If I take my transparency up, you will see that shape, okay? I want to set my default so it's easier for me to select things. So I'm going to set my default, which I think it is already. Let me see. Okay, no, it's not set. So I'm going to set my default to white. And I'm going to take my transparency down some. And I'm going to check that. Okay, perfect. That's just going to make it easier for me to select things after I make certain shapes. So we're going to go back to the draw curve and we're going to start at the base again. And we're going to do the, oh, no, you know what? Undo. Undo, 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 undo. Let's actually do the draw polygon because these are all straight lines. So we're going to start at the base again. And we're just going to follow this path and make it straight lines. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. Take my circle, Alt, click, hold down Shift, click on that shape I just drew and crop. So now we have that. I'm going to go ahead and make that this color. There we go. All right, now we need to do our clouds here on the side. Couple different ways you can do this. So I'm going to show you both ways. You can take your draw curve and we can go here, put a point here, here, and here, and then round this off. Then you would double click and make your peaks. We're going to hold down Shift, select all these points and make them corner. Click on a point here. Well, one of the ones that's not selected. And then adjust those. Oh, come on. Adjust those to where we create those peaks. So now if you watch that video, it's a little bit easier in Illustrator because they have a curvature tool that will allow you to kind of just click on it and push it up. Don't really have that in Silhouette Studio. You just have to adjust your edit points. Okay, so now that that is done, it'll be the same thing, but what I'm going to do is to create the other side as well. A way that you can do that is to do, well, I'll do the circles on the small one. This one, I will continue with how I did this one. We're going to start here, click, 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 and then just come back around, double click on it to bring up your edit points, hold down Shift, select all of these points in just in this vicinity, double click on make corner, click on one of the edit points that's not selected, and then go back to the ones up here, and let's start to create this shape. All right, so there we go with that one. So now what we would do is take these two shapes and make them a compound path, hold down Shift, click on, well, technically you didn't have to make it a compound path with this one because they're not connected. So we're going to click on the circle here, and we're going to duplicate that in front. So hold down Alt, click to duplicate it in front, hold down Shift, click on these. I made it a compound path just so that I had to click on one and not both. And then we're going to, again, crop. So now those are filled in. We're going to move this out of the way just so that you can see those shapes. I'm going to leave it up a little bit here. I'm going to group them together again. The next thing I need to do is kind of create the cutoff. So, for each one, like, so it goes to the side of the mountain. So we're going to click on that mountain, hold down. We're going to click on the mountain, hold down Shift, click on the middle part where the sun is as well, because the clouds are cut off by both of those. So we're going to click on those, hold down Alt and click. I'm going to take my transparency up just so that you can see them. And I'm going to weld them. Hold down Shift, click on my two clouds. Oops, well, the one because I grouped them together. And this time, instead of cropping, we're going to subtract. So now we have our clouds here. I'm going to click on those. There's some little stragglies. We're going to delete those. All right, now it is the small clouds. Another way that you can do this, if you don't want to really mess around with point editing, is to click on the circle or the ellipse tool. You're going to make a circle. And then you're going to duplicate that and put that here. Select both circles and weld them. If it was the one at the top, you would have to extend the bottom down to kind of cover this area. For these, we're pretty good. I'm just going to duplicate this and pull it over here and just rotate it. All right. We're going to click on our circle, Alt and click, hold down Shift, click on our two clouds and crop. I'm going to take my transparency up so you can see it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and group those together. Then I'm going to click on just the bottom half of the mountain because it's nowhere near the sun. Well, just not the bottom half, but the top part of the mountain. Hold down Alt or Option on a Mac. Click to duplicate that in front. Hold down Shift, click on my small clouds and subtract. All right, hold down Shift, click on the two clouds and delete those little stragglies. So there's that part. And I believe we have pretty much all of our standard parts of this. Only thing that, the only thing we have to finish making are like the lines here. So I'm going to go to my line tool and I'm going to create a line here, a line here, a line here. And rather than go back and forth there, I'm just going to take this one and duplicate it, or you can hold down Alt and click. I'm going to put this here. Don't worry about where it stands. We're going to move that. I'm going to go ahead, hold down Alt, and we're going to put, let's just draw it out. So we're going to go here. Draw polygon, I'm sorry. So we're going to go here, 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 and bring that down, double click, and then a regular line to go from here to here. Now with this one, the reason I said don't worry about it, when you double click on it, I can always add a point and pull this over like this. All right, now I'm going to select all of my lines. And I'm going to add some thickness to it. Oh, let's also make it black. And I'm going to go up to actually 5. Let's go up. Well, I made this one a little bit bigger. So let's go up to 8. Okay, I like that thickness. Made it going up a little bit more later. But the way that this is kind of static in how these are laid out. With the original, it kind of it tapers off. If you have Designer Edition or above, I do believe it is in Designer Edition. So if you in Designer Edition, yes, you have, nope, sorry. So you don't have it in Designer. You have to have Designer Edition Plus or Business Edition. So we go to Plus. You're going to see where you can change the lines, change your lines. So I'm going to go back up to Business Edition. So Designer Edition Plus or Business, they have these line shapes. So I'm going to choose this one. It is upside down. So we're just going to rotate this. And we're going to make this like maybe a 5 because I just need it to be maybe even a 4, just so that it's somewhat the same width as here. This line, I'm going to click on it. If you have Designer Edition or above, you have this thing called a properties dropper. I'm going to click on this. It's going to give me the same thing. We're going to rotate this one. I'm going to pull this back out like that a little bit. And as far as the width, if it's not exact, I can always change that after I do this trace I'm going to do on it. So we're going to leave that like that. This one, same thing, use my properties dropper and select there. Let's go ahead and flip that vertically. And as I said, I can always change this and refine it a little bit more after I trace this. Okay, and then here, same thing. So we're just going to keep repeating this. This time I'm going to hit I on my keyboard, select it, and then rotate it. Here, I actually want to create this line so that it's not the whole thing, because if I make this whole thing thin, it's going to be too thin out. So I'm actually going to come back in here, delete point, and I'm going to take this one, duplicate it, and put it here. And also make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to move this some based off of how it was on the other one. I'm going to double click, make this a little bit shorter. And then this one, let's take it down to a 3. Okay. All right, so those are my lines for the mountains. Now I'm going to actually group these together because I need to select everything else, and I don't want these to necessarily change. Okay, there we go. And we're going to group those together. I'm going to drag and select over everything that is here. Hold down Shift. Click on my background layer so I can deselect it. I'm going to click on my lines because I don't want those to change. Everything else, though, I'm going to make it a black outline. And I'm going to take those up to, what did we say before? 8. Let's see if that's going to be too big. Okay, no, 8 might not even be big enough. So let's take this up to 10. Yours will differ if you attempt this. Yours will differ depending on how big your initial image that you're tracing is. You just want to look for how thick you want it to be. So I changed mine to 10. I think I'm okay with that. With that being said, I'm going to click here, ungroup. I'm going to make these just a little bit thicker than 8. So let's go maybe 9. Maybe even still go 10. Okay. This one here, we're going to also take that to 10. And this one, let's go up to 5. Okay. Now I'm going to select everything here. I'm going to fill it with white. Oh, undo. We need our original. Actually, you know what? I have Designer Edition. I have Designer Edition or above. So what I'm going to do, which I should have done from the beginning, is go to my layers panel. And this image right here, which is here, we're going to create a new layer. All right, we're going to take this, right click and bring to front. It's going to put it on this layer. And then I'm going to send this layer to the back. So I'm going to collapse this, pull this down to here, and I'm going to lock it. That way I don't have to worry about selecting that one anymore. I actually should have did that in the beginning. All right, so now I'm going to select everything. See, now I'm not selecting my image. And we're going to fill that in with white. Oh, come on now. All right, let's select everything here. We're going to fill it in with, why are you still, there we go. And I'm going to take my transparency all the way back up. All right, so now we have basically this image without shadow, without color. What I'm going to do is make a trace of this. So select trace area, place my box around it. We're going to increase, well, because I changed my default to a low transparency, for some reason it also affects the tracing part of it. So I'm going to come off, make sure nothing is selected. I'm going to take my transparency up. Now when I go back to select trace area, you see it's darker and we're going to see the bright yellow lines. This is what we want. I'm going to take my threshold up just a little. I felt like I could get a little bit more detail in there. And we're going to do a regular trace. This is now our outline that's going to sit to the front. So on that outline, I'm going to make it orange for now, just so that you can see the difference in it. And then the background, we can now fill with color. So I'm going to take this piece here. We're going to actually select everything that's here. Hold down Shift. I'm going to actually just do the top. I don't want my lines right here. So we're going to, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to just select everything, hold down Shift, click on the orange because we don't want that. Everything else, we're going to, I'm going to click on my properties dropper and just make it a solid white, no line colors, no nothing. Then we're going to click here using my properties dropper, go like that. I like to use keyboard shortcuts and it makes it faster. The keyboard shortcut for properties dropper is I. So I'm going to click here and here. I fill it in with the lighter blue. And then my sun, for now, I'm just going to click it, fill that color. And then for this, just fill it in with this color. Everything else is how it should be. We're just missing the shadowing now. So we're going to take everything that is here, take our transparency down so that we can see our base image again. And we're going to create those shadow areas. I'm going to go take my draw polygon, come in through here, and we're just going to draw this shape. Let's take the transparency down on it. I'm going to fix my lines a little bit here. Okay. Same thing with this one. We're going to click here. You want to stay within the lines of, you can go outside, but when you're here, you want to stay within those lines. And then we're going to do this shadow right here. Okay. So with these, we're going to take our outline, click on that. We're going to duplicate it to the front. Hold down Alt and click in here, hold down Shift, click on the shapes, and we're going to go subtract all. It's going to create these little, it's going to create a bunch of boxes, but we're going to hold down Shift and click in the shadow parts that we want to keep. Everything else, we're going to hit delete. Oh, I guess we have to ungroup those too. So let's ungroup those, hold down Shift, click, 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 and delete everything else. So now we have that shadow. Now we also need to create the shadow here and this one also. So we're going to go to our draw polygon, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before in drawing the shape, kind of curving it out, closing off the shape. All right. I want it a little bit lighter so I can see through it. And I'm just going to adjust my lines here to create that curve. I'm not trying to be exact or perfect with this, as close to it as possible. All right. And then we're going to create this shape here by coming in. I'm going to try and stay on the line so I don't have a lot to delete. So I'm going to try and follow that path and stay within that line, and then we're going to curve it out. Double click on it, fix my curves here a little bit. I can also help it curve out by choosing Simplify, and it'll take away some of those lines and kind of curve it out. I still have a little bit of adjusting to do. I think on this one, I want to just pull it down here and adjust my handle just so that it's a little bit smoother in the way that it curves. Okay. So now again, with this outline here, we're going to Alt, click it in front. We're going to hold down Shift, click, and this time we're just going to subtract. And this is what I did before. I made a compound path, but that's neither here nor there. So we're going to hold down Shift, click on here, and delete that portion. And then this piece right here, we're going to bring it to the front. And we're going to subtract it from here. So hold down Shift, select, and subtract. So there's a hole there. All right. Now let's select everything and bring our colors back up to full strength. Okay. Now here we can fill it in with this lighter color. And then our shadows on the mountain are going to be the blue. And then our gradient here, I'm going to add this to a color palette. So I'm going to click here and add it to my palette, add it to my palette, add it to my palette, add it to my palette. So I can create a custom gradient. I'm now going to go to gradient, click on the sun. I'm going to click on a gradient that has just two colors, go to options, and down here, I'm going to scroll all the way down to where I added those colors. So for this side, I'm going to choose that orange color, which I think I want to go a little bit darker than that. And then on this side, I'm going to choose that red color, and I can add to it to make it make more of the red or the orange. I think I want to make this a little bit darker. Okay. And I can also change the color of this. That was a bad kind of like sample from that little small piece, but you get the idea how you can create a custom gradient. And then for this one, we're going to choose a gradient that has color on both sides of it. So I'm just going to choose any random one. And so for this, we're going to choose the darker color, and then I'm going to delete these, and then this middle one, we're going to do the lighter color and the lighter color there. Click on my outline, go back to my fill color or my properties dropper and make that black. And we have pretty much recreated this. All we have to do now is add the snow to it. So for that, we're just going to take some circles, hold down Shift, make a couple perfect circles here, use my properties dropper, make it a white with no outline, and we're going to shrink this down, make a couple duplicates, change the size of that one, maybe even make one a little bit bigger. I'm going to take these three, move them over here. Oh, maybe they are a little too big. So let's shrink those down some. All right, and now you can randomly, and you'll see on their video as well, they just randomly placed the white dots to create the snow effect. All right, so let's just go ahead and just create a few more snowflakes here and there. That's up to you as far as how many you add to it. Alrighty. So how did I do? I'm going to copy the original one over here again so you can see it. This is the one we did in Select Studio, and this is the one. You can watch the video too, and it'll show you the final result. So that is who it was by, Dom Designs. And you can see that, hey, that is pretty spot on. And the way that this is set up, it is where you have the outline and you can change the layers to any colors that you want. So if you don't want it to be like that blue, maybe you wanted a solid blue, you can go in there and change that. Maybe you want the sun to be a different color. Maybe you want this part, it is snowing, but maybe it's not, you know, maybe you're going to redo it and it's not during snow. It's just like a regular mountain. This, you know, maybe it's a hilly, well, I guess it would be a hill, not a mountain, but you can go in there and make it like patches of green instead. So this can be changed to a wide variety of colors because you have completely vectorized it. If I move this top layer, you'll see that everything here is touching. It has color to it, and there's no separation of it. And maybe that's a look that you're going for. But with the outline right on top, let's go ahead and bring that back to the front. With the outline right on top is how you get that vector look, that line art look. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this and it was helpful for you to see how you can use Silhouette Studio just like the quote unquote professional graphic designing softwares. If you enjoyed this, do give this video a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you're notified whenever we release new content. Join our Facebook group for more help, Silaholics Anonymous Silhouette Help, and also visit our website, shop.silaholics.anonymous.com for access to my extended and in-depth classes, our sublimation ink, our pigment ink, our sublimation paper, our templates, and so much more. All right, guys, until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be ink credible. Peace.